All right then, party people. Welcome to the pod. I don't know, maybe you guys aren't party people, but I feel like, maybe you are. Drank about half a cup of coffee. I woke up late today, guys. I woke up a little after 7, but I slept late. Probably slept around, I was up recording till almost midnight. So let's call it like 12:45 or so. Early morning, I fell asleep. Oh, man. I was listening to one of my instructors for a digital marketing course. He's kind of reviewing some software. So I'm pretty interested in it. As we know, it's Weed Wednesday, so it's a creative morning. I'll probably do deliveries later, like around 5:45 or something. Get the dinner deliveries. I'll probably stay in and do some creative stuff today. Don't know if I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm not too sure about that quite yet. If I'm gonna work out from home, I need to make that decision because it's gonna get hotter. Let's see, what's the temperature? Right now we're at 68. It's 8:02 a.m. And by 2 p.m. it's gonna be 78. So that's not bad, honestly. Like, it was supposed to be hotter, so I'm not gonna complain. We had a storm last night. I don't freaking know what I don't know. I really think I'm like mildly traumatized by the winter weather. Like, I don't really like to make light of trauma and be like, oh, like, yeah, like I'm not like having flashbacks or anything, but I do find myself like slightly worried. Like, whenever I see, and I live in a beach city, so it's like whenever I see the fog rolling in, or when I open my eyes and look, like, I sleep with even if the windows aren't open, because I close them a lot because of the traffic and I don't know why lately in this last month there's been so much street racing and so many motorcycles. Like, maybe it's a summer thing, but I don't remember this last summer. But I don't really hardly remember last summer at all. I don't remember last summer being this hot. I feel like April last year was hot. We had a bad heat wave. And then last year, I think in July, we had a really bad heat wave. Because I remember there were fires in July. Because I remember driving down to San Diego for Black Pride. And there were fires that were making really bad traffic somewhere south. I just don't remember where. I don't remember the details, to be honest. But yeah, from like mid-July to like maybe late August, we do tend to get pretty hot weather. That's pretty common. Like, I know usually the 4th of July, if that is like the earliest that we usually start getting heat waves. But I remember when snowboard season ended, like, because I was trying to get up to the mountains and the snow was like melting faster than I could get there. I remember that last year, last April, like April of 2022. It was like right before I moved back to LA. So I remember that specifically. And then when this winter hit, this was the first winter where I remember, the resorts being open for snowboarding, skiing, whatever you want to call it, before Thanksgiving. Like, it may have happened before, but this is the first time I remember being able to go up in November. I don't remember if I did go up in November. I don't really remember, but I remember November was when it was first an option, and I've already started the training because I'm doing some weird shifts and some weird online digital projects that I'm trying to monetize, and in a way I'm basically working for two jobs. Both of them I pretty much decide my own schedule. One of them I kind of make my own. It's all like from the ground up pretty much, just built from the ground up. And then the other one I've made made my own, just schedule with like deliveries. But yeah, I think something happened to me during the winter, because we had gloomy weather. Like, we get May gray and June gloom. Like, that's kind of what we call it out here. And so we have a name for it, so we know that we don't usually get a lot of sun, but we usually don't get that much cloudy weather. Like, even when the rain kind of stopped, it was still cloudy for like ever. And I thought it was only me being affected by it. Like, I started talking to some East Coast friends, and they're like, oh yeah, like, but I mean, I heard it, like, I think it was one of my East Coast friends that was first talking about like seasonal depression or something. I was like, nah, like, that can't be right. I was like so in denial until I met up with some other friends in San Diego, I think like during July. And they were like, yeah, June sucked. I was depressed like all like May and June. And like, I was like, fuck, me too. Like, so, because I always think, I mean, this is kind of a dumb way of thinking maybe, but like, I always think that I get depressed because snowboard season ends. That's kind of where my mind goes. I'm like, oh, like, it's April, snowboard season's ending. Because I do put a lot of effort in to like saving money and preparing and like spending a fortune on freaking passes. And last season I had to use car rentals to get up there and back because I didn't trust any of my broken down cars, and it just wouldn't have been safe for me to be driving those clankers around up there in the mountains with the weather as bad as it was. I was like, I need a car that's like solid. Like, I'm not driving these 20-something-year-old cars up there anymore. Like, and so this season I really have to figure that out. I need to figure something out before probably November or December, because I don't think I can drive my car. I'm gonna have to get rentals. I usually use Kite because they bring the car to you and come and pick it up. So it does save me an Uber to and from the car rental spot, and it also saves me an Uber, and it saves me it saves me from having to drop it off when it's like inconvenient for me and then Ubering back. So I mean, I know there's like it and you can I don't know if you really get to pick your own vehicle that much, kinda, but I like it. I like Kite. It costs a little more, like with all the fees and stuff, but if you have your own insurance and everything, you'll be fine. But guys, the sun came out this morning. I looked, last night was really, really windy, and then I heard thunder. I didn't really hear rain, but when I looked out this morning while making coffee, I saw that the cars were just like soaked on the top, but the driveway looked dry. So maybe it was just some heavy moisture. But the sides of the house, the sidewalk has some moisture. So maybe it did rain. And just because we get direct sun, we've been getting direct sun for a good hour this morning. Maybe everything in the driveway kind of dried up. But it doesn't make sense that the cars would still be wet. But I don't know. Maybe our driveway dries fast. I really don't know. But the clouds were kind of scattered. You could tell there was a new storm. And now, only an hour later, we've got cloud cover rolled in. We've got a marine layer. It's getting foggy. I'm over it. You guys. I'm over it. And I don't even live in an area where it gets way too hot because we have the ocean. But it's the amount of cloud cover that is happening. We've been having a lot of mornings with a lot of clouds. I think almost every day this week it's been cloudy in the mornings until about 11 over here. So I don't understand why it was so sunny in the morning, and then it literally just, next thing I know, I look outside and it's cloudy again. So it's not cold, but it's no longer blue. It's now gray, and the sun's barely starting to peek out. So I mean, that's my weather report. But I don't know, I feel the weather kind of really affects me. And it's hard to explain, when you're used to living in a place that doesn't have severe weather, anything that changes, whenever it deviates from what I know, I'm what is this? The marine layers for us come and go at certain times of the day. It's not very common that you have a lot of sun and blue skies early in the morning, 6 something in the morning, 7 something in the morning, and then you get a marine layer to follow. Usually it's the other way around. It's usually it's cloudy, and when I look in the hills and everything, it's you can't see anything because it's foggy for a pretty long distance. Or when I go to the beach and look in the distance, it's foggy, and then that layer burns off. That's usually how it goes. It's not usually opposite. So I get bitter when the weather doesn't follow the trends and patterns that I'm used to. I'm what are you doing? What is happening here? I really don't like it. I don't like it when the weather changes. I don't like it when it's too hot. I don't like it when it's too cold. I don't like it when it's too cloudy. Fog I can deal with because, that's what's supposed to happen. We're supposed to have fog. But I don't know what was up with that storm. And the weather apps, whenever I check them, it's there's supposed to be another peak of the heat wave. This is the second or third week that it's kept shifting. And every time it says it's going to be 90 something degrees, it ends up being 70 something degrees. And it just randomly rains whenever the heck. It doesn't even say anything on the app about it. I like to check the weather because I have some friends that work out this way, and so sometimes I tell them what the weather's like, because I know in their area of the city it's not the same, and then the app doesn't really tell them, so I don't want them being stuck walking around getting all rained on, because who the heck carries an umbrella in August? And if you're like me, some people that are like me, I don't even own an umbrella. So there's that. But I don't know, guys. I think that today I need to take it easy. I want to go make a lot of cash, but because I am a little bit behind on my earnings, but also I might actually be able to make that up a little bit if I do some online gigs. I don't really know if I will be, but if I can make about 30, 40 online, because I've got these mystery shops I can call. They sent me a list that they signed me on to, So I could probably do some of these calls. And it's all remote, so I don't have to go anywhere. So I might do that and work on some projects. Have a simple breakfast of just some oats. If I don't make it to the gym, I kind of want to work on using my balance board. I kind of use that for my balance and for leg strength, but it's kind of like a memory. So one of my friends posted this. I really liked it. I'm gonna read it if I can freaking find the thing. Okay. So he posted this. It's by @IzzyJustice, Dr. Izzy Justice. It says, "There's no such thing as muscle memory. Muscles make no decisions, store no skills/memory. When practicing shots, you're not training muscles, you're imprinting in your brain to transfer to muscles. Train your brain equals less reps needed, equals better imprinting, equals recollect skill on course." So I wanted to look more into that because I don't really understand. I don't really know much about that perspective or theory or whatever. I've never really heard that before. Like, I always call things muscle memory. Like, I play guitar, I've always called that muscle memory. I used to play piano, I call that muscle memory. I never thought about this concept of imprinting on your brain and then transferring it to your muscles. But that makes sense. I mean, that does make sense. Because I know there is that whole, everyone always says use it or lose it, And I've definitely gone through that with, like, a little bit with sports, a little bit with, like, intellectual stuff. Like, I've noticed, when I dove into psych and stepped away from all my, like, digital projects, there's, like, the technology keeps advancing. Whether or not you're paying attention to it advances. And so when I stepped back into things, I was like, oh, like, Google AdSense is different, everything was different, the blogger platform was different, YouTube Studio was different, the processes to monetize were different, podcasting platforms were easier to use, they exist and they were free. There are a lot of platforms that, were coming on that I hadn't really heard of, or ones that were like really, really teeny tiny, almost like unknown or unheard of or unused platforms where now everybody was like using them. Companies like Zoom and all that. Like, I think the Rona kind of changed a lot of what we do, but it's like, yeah, step away from something for a while and then come back into it, and it's like, whoa. Even in sports, everything was different. I hadn't watched sports for like ages. The baseball helmets are different. The gear is a little, like, they have like technological advances to the equipment. I noticed in soccer, I don't remember the first time I saw, I think it was one of the players on LAFC. He was wearing this device. They have these like tracking devices. They kind of trace your body. I don't know what the word is. Like, they basically analyze the stuff that's going on with your body. Maybe like your breath, your heart rate, your whatever it may be. Like, they have these like things that you can wear that collect data, kind of similar to a smartwatch, but it's some other kind of smart device. And I saw this guy, I don't remember if the team won or lost, but then this dude takes off his jersey and it looks like he's wearing a sports bra, and I'm like, what? Because I'd never seen it before, because I had been like, I hadn't watched sports in like years. And I was just like, okay, like, because I think on Hulu they had this series about LAFC, and I was watching that, and yeah, it was pretty interesting. But then I was like, in that series they showed them kind of tracking the players, all these like all the data that they were kind of gathering, and like telling them different things to try to like optimize, their diet, their exercise, their weight. Like they were trying to manage all these different things with these devices, to kind of make them like at the optimal level, so that they could like play. Like, they were tracking like hydration and all this kind of stuff. Like these devices could track all this kind of stuff, or whatever devices like this was a job. Like there was somebody who was a team, I don't know what you call it, like there was somebody who tracked all the data for all the players and would like sit them down and be like, okay, this hydration issue is off, your sleep is off, like this is off, that's off, and try to like get them on track. And I was like, however many years ago in sports, like that wasn't like a thing. And even like nutrition is like so advanced. Like we have technology at our fingertips that can really help with a lot of things. A lot of it's not free, but it's like, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see, but a lot has definitely changed. But it's like, yeah, I stepped away from stuff, and then I looked into it again, and I'm like, oh, let me jump back into some of these interests. Like during the Rona, I started jumping back into different interests that I had, because I was like, I'm really not getting a lot of satisfaction out of just working my ass off all the time. Like, especially having a job where I'm only working for other people. Like I felt like I wasn't really doing enough for myself. Like I would hang out, party, and then do nothing for myself. I was basically just helping other people with their problems all day long. And it was just kind of an interesting thing to witness. So I would say, even with all that, like, things change. Like things change over time. And it's just kind of an interesting experience. I remember, shooting hoops, the first time I put a basketball down for like ever, and then picked one up again, and I was like, it just feels off. Like dribbling feels a little off. My jump shot was a little off. You know how you do layups and you kind of run towards the basket, and I was like, like before I kind of could tell from anywhere on the court, like how many steps I need to take, just to kind of come off of this leg or whatever. And like I kind of lost that. Like I was like, that motor just wasn't quite there. And the same for tennis, the same for baseball, the same for soccer. And snowboarding is where it usually hits me the hardest, because I don't usually have a lot of opportunities in the year to be snowboarding. I don't really skimboard anymore. I used to, like way back when I had friends with skimboards, and like, but I feel like that, to me, there's two things about it. One thing for me is I live in a city where people are very skilled with surfing, water sports and such. They're very, I wouldn't call them professional, but they're very skilled. And for me, it's a little intimidating to be out there by myself. 'Cause, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with like black females doing certain sports. Like in snowboarding, I'm the only black female I know that does it. I don't know any other ones of us. I'm sure we exist, but I don't know any. Like Zeb is like probably one of the only black male snowboarders that I know about, and he's really great. But I don't really know black females, who snowboard. Like Never seen him in the X Games, not to my knowledge. But it's just, you just don't see our people doing that kind of stuff too much. It's just not a sport that's saturated with people that look like me at all. I mean, we have other sports that we're all up in, but I mean, there aren't really a lot of people who look like me, so it's kind of like weird. Like, I get a little, I've never had like people say anything against me, but it's like, you know, I've definitely had a weird experience. I don't know, it's not a big deal, but basically that's kind of why I got the balance board to kind of train more at home, because it's just a little bit easier. You can do like side to side balancing and forward backward balancing, and so that's pretty cool. And then it has that it has the roller that you put the board on. I haven't yet tried it with my snowboard. I don't think it's a good idea to do something like that yet. I'll probably fall and break something, either on myself or something in my house. But I do want to try it closer to when the season starts, because my balance should be better by then. I just don't want to like injure myself. But most of my fitness goals are towards snowboard season. In a while, I'll be talking about it like incessantly. That's like the only thing I'll be thinking about. But basically, yeah, for now, I'm just kind of trying to get where I need to go. But I've got job applications I need to put in. It was good to have a couple interviews, but there are also jobs I don't want, and so yeah. But yeah, if I look at yesterday, yesterday went really well. I was able to earn what I needed. I was able to get around smoothly. I was able to reach the goals I was trying to reach. I was able to get to the gym. I went to the sauna after the gym. My mom purchased some of our favorite Mexican food, and so I ate that once I got home around like 5:30. After I showered, I had like a protein shake and ate one of those bean burritos, a little bit of the enchiladas with the rice. And I think for today's lunch, I'll eat the rest of the enchiladas with the rice and beans. Just, sometimes refried beans, I think when they make them with lard, my stomach is like, it does not like that, but it tastes so good. So I eat it anyways and suffer. Like, I don't even care. But if I'm home today, it's not really going to matter if I'm eating all that cheese and lard and beans and stuff. It's going to kill my stomach, but I'll deal. But yeah, just got some digital projects I'm working on. Let's get some remote money today, and then tomorrow I've got a lot to do. I've got appointments tomorrow, and I'm trying to get some work done around these appointments. And then I've got that'll be Thursday. Friday, I've got a gig Friday. I'll probably take Saturday free. And I might skip the gym today. I might just save the gas. The car I drive, it guzzles gas so bad. It's like, it's really hard to kind of just want to just go down the street real quick, because, you know, when I'm delivering, I'm driving all the time, so it kind of makes it hard to want to be driving, and I don't really enjoy driving around LA, to be honest. I mean, there's parts of it I like. I mean, I've definitely missed getting back into listening to music, like long style listening to stuff, like listening to music, listening to pods, listening to like talk radio. I really kind of miss that kind of stuff, because I put it down for a really long time, and now I'm back with it, you know. So yeah, like that's kind of what I'm gonna do for my day today. Just take it slow, but do the stuff I need to do. And I'll probably just make some oats right now and then call it a day. Like, I don't really need to do that much. I might put a little bit of protein powder in my oats. But otherwise, yeah, I feel pretty good this morning. I could have maybe slept a little bit more, but once I saw it was after 7, when I finally looked at my clock, I was like, oh shoot. I had some interesting dreams. I just don't remember what they were. I had like 3 dreams. I don't know if it was 3 repetitive dreams or a dream where I did 3 repetitive things. I was listening to something the other day where they were saying, like, if when you wake up, something as simple as even like turning your head or just like switching your thoughts to some like, oh, what I'm gonna do later today, and then all of a sudden you'll lose your memory of the dream a lot of times. So you know, I didn't have any edibles last night. I didn't have any melatonin last night. So I do think that tends to affect me. As far as remembering dreams, like I feel like my dreams are a lot more memorable with, you know, when I've had melatonin, when I've had an edible, definitely when I've had like I don't really take like ZQuil and stuff like that anymore, but or NyQuil, but when I do have that, like when I get really sick and I'm like, I just need to sleep, I'll take it for like maybe a day, maybe 2. It gives me really vivid, super strange dreams. And they're almost bordering on nightmares, but they're not quite nightmares. They're just like so odd. Like, my dreams kind of have like usually like this fantasy aspect to them, but usually there's a lot of realistic stuff. Usually the people and the events and stuff is like, it's stuff that I would normally probably do, people I would normally see. And these dreams, you know, they have like dragons and monsters, and like I'm not usually, I don't remember ever being like terrified by them, but I'm just like, you know, I'll be flying around and like, you know, watching a battle between like the sun and the stars or something. It's like, what is going on? Like, you know, my dreams get a little bit like out there. But I mean, sometimes it's worth the experience. Sometimes it is kind of like just a fun thing. But yeah, that's kind of my plan for today. Just because this Wednesday, even though I haven't quite met my financial goals for the week, because I wasn't very patient Sunday and Monday, I think if I was more patient, I would have gotten some orders. But, you know, if I wait an hour and I don't get anything, I don't really want to keep going. Like, I think yesterday, when did my first order come in yesterday? I think I left the house, I wrote down 10:19 is when I was in the car, like putting in the mileage and everything. And then I got to Let me see. My first delivery. Really? Yeah, my first delivery was at 10. I think it was at 10:50 is when I got the order coming in, but then I picked it up at 10:57 or something like that. Let me see. I was over near El Camino College. I remember that much. Yeah, I want to say it was 10:50. So it took about 30 minutes to get my first order. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to fill in for today, you know. It's a creative day. I've got some new software I want to test out and review if I can. Did I even say the name of it? It's called Runway ML. It's basically a video software. It uses, what's a platform? I don't know if it's actually software. It's like, whatever. It's kind of hard for me to distinguish between things sometimes, because nowadays you get a lot of technically it's software, but it's kind of cloud-based, and it's usually on a website, and you don't usually have to download the software. So usually you just have an account where you log in online, and as long as you have internet, you have access to your account on pretty much any computer. So it's called Runway ML. And basically what it is it has images that you can use text to kind of explain what you want to happen in the images, and it creates a video. And you can also use text for audio, so it can provide speech, like kind of background speech about the video in motion. And you can also put background music, but it's not free. I might try to get a free trial if there is a free trial, but it's not free. So I kind of want to play around with that today. That's kind of what I want to do. And yeah. So that's kind of all I plan to do for my morning. And then I'm going to eat lunch in the afternoon. Like I said, the food at home. I'm probably not gonna go out and eat. But I got some stuff I want to look into, and then some jobs I need to apply to. I'll do the applications tonight. But yes, otherwise it's about that time for me to kind of get on with my morning. Need to kind of eat some breakfast and get rolling on some of these projects before I get distracted doing some other thing. So let me go eat. With that, thanks for listening.